happy Monday and welcome back to my channel. So today is a bright and beautiful and sunny day, but also somehow absolutely freezing at the same time. I don't know when spring is finally gonna come, but I cannot wait. Anyway, I'm on my way to campus. I'm gonna start my day working on my second print for my anemone collection, and then we actually have a critique in our bedding class, so I can finally show you all the work that I've been doing for that class and how my project turned out. So yeah, let's go. In my first class of the week, I continued to plan the rest of my prints that'll go in my 4-piece anemone collection. I started sketching 2 new designs on my iPad, which are still in the very early stages of development. I then worked on the color placement for my other design. This design is supposed to be a floral version of my main print, and I really like how it's turning out so far. Hello again, I just finished working on my anemone print, and now I'm heading over to my bedding class for our class critique. My collection, titled Forest, was inspired by the petrified wood that I saw at the Museum of Natural History many weeks ago, as well as the snow dyeing experiments that I did over winter break. I started with gigantic to scale watercolor paintings and mark makings, and I digitally manipulated them into both repeating designs and engineered layouts for the different elements of a bedding set. I then recolored them to make 2 different colorways. Overall, my designs are a little bit weird, and I think that the market of people who would actually want this design on their bed would be pretty small, but I still had fun making it and I learned a lot in the process. Finally done with that critique. I'm finally done with that project and I can finally move on to something else. We pretty much spent the entire semester working on that, so it kind of feels weird to be done, but I'm also just like so relieved. I really wasn't crazy about what I made. It worked, it did the assignment, but I wasn't super in love with my project, so I'm definitely excited to move on to something else. But yeah, so my teacher did not hesitate at all to immediately have us dive into the next project. We literally did the critique and then she was like, okay, so the next one. We didn't even have a moment to pause and breathe, but we're on to the next project, and surprise, it's a floral. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I've done so many florals in this program so far. I think I've done pansies, birds of paradise, poinsettias, pitcher plants, orchids. I'm sure there's plenty more that I can't think of at the moment, but yeah, I've just done a lot, so I'm a little bit flowered out. So if you have any recommendations for flowers that you like, or anything that you think could be beautiful to do on a bedding spread, feel free to leave me a comment because I definitely need some inspiration right now. So anyway, I'm on my way home for the evening. I definitely want to take it easy tonight because it's been a pretty intense couple weeks now, and I feel like tonight I can finally just like relax. So I'm gonna do exactly that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, happy Tuesday afternoon. I'm now heading to my afternoon screen printing class where I'm gonna hopefully finish up the striped version of my bug and brooch design. I have a lot of work to do, but my goal is to start printing on Thursday, so wish me luck. For the second design of our screen print collections, we were asked to make a stripe, so I've been working on a design that features necklaces, bracelets, and bugs that'll coordinate with my other print. I spent pretty much the whole class period working on color placement for my designs. We're using 2 screens for this project, so I had to figure out which parts of the design would go on which screen, as well as how the 2 would layer together, which is basically a giant confusing puzzle. Hello again, I just finished up with my screen printing class, and honestly that was a pretty stressful class period because I realized that things were just like going wrong in my Photoshop file. I don't really know what was happening, but I had to kind of like remake and redo a lot of stuff, which is never really that fun, but I got through it. I think I'm still on track, which is good. And I'm gonna finish that up tonight so I can send those to the print lab so I can get ready to print on Thursday. Anyway, tomorrow I'm gonna start tracing my next anemone print design, so I need to go get some watercolor paper from Blick. I got my 5 pieces of watercolor paper that cost a small fortune, and now I'm heading home, so I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, happy Wednesday. Today should be a pretty productive morning. I'm gonna get started on anemone print number 2. So I have my watercolor paper here with me, and I need to go to the print lab to get my printout, and yeah, I'm gonna start tracing and hopefully I can start painting soon. Also, today's Wednesday, so my last video came out 2 days ago now, and I've been reading all the comments that people are leaving on that video, especially in regards to the sentiments I was expressing about wanting to make my designs more marketable after I got all stressed out visiting the stores on our field trip. And anyway, the comments that you all left on that video like really just made me feel validated and made me feel so much better about where I am and what I'm doing, because it's so easy to get stuck in your own head in these kinds of programs just because like you really want to make your best work, and then you look around and see what other people are making, and if it doesn't match, it just feels kind of weird. And I don't know, those comments just made me feel validated that like I'm doing the right thing, people like my designs. Just as a whole, it was really, really helpful to me and really, really kind, so I just wanted to say thank you. Anyway, let's head to campus. This is a printout of that green and purple floral-ish design that you saw me coloring on the computer earlier in the week. And I'm using the light table to trace this design onto my watercolor paper so it's ready to start painting. Coffee break. Well, this time I guess it's matcha. Up next was my Illustrator class, where I continued to work on my collection of children's wear prints inspired by my theme of berries. And although I find Illustrator really confusing and frustrating at times, I'm really happy with how these designs are turning out so far. Hello again, I just got out of Illustrator. I'm carrying literally so much stuff, and I'm gonna go meet Ryan for dinner. After dinner, I think I'm just gonna go home and just work on all kinds of stuff all night. I have a very long day tomorrow and I need to get a lot of things done until then. So yeah, I'll see ya. Thursday. I'm honestly a little bit stressed out this morning and extremely tired. I am worried that the print lab messed up my order and I won't get my screens today, which means I'll be behind a day, and I'm trying not to like spiral and freak out about that because that'll like really put me behind if that's the case. So I'm gonna go straight to the print lab this morning, try to deal with all of that, and hopefully have a good day today. So I'll see you on campus. They had my prints. I'm literally gonna cry, I'm so relieved. And now it's on to screen printing class. These are the black and white versions of the files that you saw me photoshopping earlier in the week, which will eventually become the screens that I'll use for printing. But before I can do that, I had to say goodbye to my first design, which is always a bit of a bummer. This process is long and kind of complicated, but here's the gist of it. After registering my screens, I taped down one of my printouts to this UV light and vacuum table. Then I coated my screen with light-sensitive emulsion and I lined it up perfectly with my design. I then turned on the vacuum table, which perfectly suctions my screen to my stencil and to the table, so nothing shifts around and no light can escape. I then turned on the UV light and I exposed my screen for exactly 80 seconds. When that time was up, I rinsed my screen. The parts of the screen that were exposed to the UV light hardened, and the parts that were blocked by my black printout stayed soft. So when it's rinsed out with a hose, my design gets washed out, which forms a perfect stencil. I then repeated this whole process for my second screen. Hello again, I just got out of my screen printing class and I'm really tired. That class is just always crazy. It's always so humid. I'm like covered in hose water. There are just all these people bumping around at these giant screens. So I am tired and I need something cold and refreshing. So I'm gonna go get a smoothie. Then I'm gonna find somewhere to camp out for the next 6 hours until my night class. So yeah, let's go. I just spent around 5 hours or so just sitting in the same chair, in the same classroom, doing some homework on my computer, and I have about an hour to kill until my night class, so I decided to just like go for a walk. I needed some air, I needed to get out, and maybe I'll grab a coffee, but yeah, I couldn't just stare at my computer anymore. Well, I didn't intend to go fabric shopping, but I ended up walking by TrueMart and they had the exact color that I wanted for my screen printing in there, so I had to grab it because it was super cheap, so that's a win. Also, earlier in the video, I asked you guys what your favorite flowers were, and I realized that I actually need those ideas and that inspiration a lot sooner than when this video is gonna go out, so I decided to post it in my community tab here on YouTube, and I got a lot of really fun responses. During my break, just spent like quite a bit of time going through each and every response and Googling the flowers, saving them to Pinterest, and it was just so much fun to like look and see what everyone's favorite flowers were and how different all the suggestions were and how beautiful nature is. I know that sounds cheesy, but yeah, it was just a lovely way to spend the afternoon. So thank you for that fun time. So I will definitely leave a link to that Pinterest board in this video description. And if you have any other flower ideas or suggestions, or you just want to share what flowers make you happy, feel free to leave them in the comments below, because honestly, it's just so much fun to read them and Google them, and it brings me joy. So thank you in advance. Anyway, it's now time for my night class. In my textile science class, we were learning about knit fabrics, so we took a little trip down to FIT's basement to see some of the knitting machinery. I'm always just totally in awe of this space. We first had an introduction to the basics of machine knitting. And then we saw how several different kinds of knitting machines worked, which were absolutely mesmerizing. Hello again, I just got out of my night class and honestly, that was really fun. I showed you some of the videos of some of the machine demos that we saw, and those are honestly really cool. In textile surface design, we unfortunately don't really get to take many knitting classes. They don't really consider that a part of our department necessarily, so I haven't really spent a lot of time down there and I really wish I could. So I'm gonna try to figure out a way to take some classes there by the time I graduate. We'll see, I'll make it work somehow. Anyway, I'm now heading home, so I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, happy Friday. I honestly struggled a little bit to get it together this morning because I am just like really tired. But today I have weaving all day, which should be pretty fun, so yeah, let's head to campus. In class, we continued to learn about the basics of summer and winter weaves on an 8-harness loom. I couldn't really think of any motifs at all because I was so tired, so I just went with bugs again because that's just what's been on my mind lately. Last week, you saw me make a teal-colored warp, and honestly, I just wasn't having any fun designing with that specific color. So I decided to switch it up and remake my warp with this pretty purple yarn. I then spent the whole afternoon threading my tiny 8-harness structo loom with the summer and winter point threading. Hello again. I'm finally out of my weaving class and it's finally the weekend. Not that the weekend's gonna be any less stressful than the week, especially because I have to come back to campus tomorrow to do some screen printing, but it still feels good to be done with this week. For some reason, I don't know why, but these last few days have just felt so much harder than the rest of the semester. And I think it's just because like all of us are really burnt out, honestly. Like I think in total, if you tally up everything that I'm working on, I think I have 13 different individual pieces going at once, which is just like a lot. I feel like I'm just being spread really thin and there's been just like no relief from constantly needing to like churn out stuff. And I feel like I'm just hitting a wall finally. So I'm gonna try my best to relax this weekend, but realistically, I don't really know if I'll be able to because I just have so much to do next week, but I just need to get to spring break. It's coming up soon and that will be my time to like fully chill out and reset. So anyway, I'm now heading home and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, happy Saturday! So today my goal is to make sure that the screens I made on Thursday in my screen printing class are actually working properly. So one of the big challenges of using two screens in screen printing is that the screens have to match exactly right and line up perfectly or else your design doesn't turn out. So if I get to class today and it turns out that things aren't really lining up, then I have to redo all of that work and I can't really afford to fall behind right now, so I'm trying to get ahead of things. So yeah, wish me luck! I started out by making a test print of my design on some big paper just to make sure that everything was working out before I printed it on fabric. So I mixed up two high contrast colors that would help me see any of my mistakes, and I got to printing. So the first thing I needed to check was whether or not my repeat size was measured correctly, and I was off by a little bit. But that's an issue with my measurements and where I put my screens, and not with my screen itself, so it's an easy fix. I then printed with my second screen and my second color just to see how the screens would line up with one another. And thankfully, everything worked out just right. This was a huge relief. Then I made my official first print on some beautiful navy blue silk fabric and with some glittery gold ink. So for my first print, I used the gold paint just straight out of the jar. And then for my second print, I made a mixture that sort of resembled a tarnished silver color. Again, I just got out of the screen printing lab and honestly I got a lot of stuff done. I tested out my screens, which actually ended up working out. I did some color trials for my blue fabric and then I did the 3 repeats of the blue fabric, so I was really busy. And unfortunately I'm not like stoked about how the fabric came out. I had a couple printing issues and there was something also about the colors that just felt like a little bit off, so if I have the time I really want to try to redo that and like make it right, you know? So yeah, I'll see you at home. Good morning, it's around 8 a.m. on Sunday and I spent pretty much all of last night working on my mood board and concept development for my bedding collection, and today I'm going to dedicate myself to this painting, which I'm going to try to get as much done as I possibly can today, and if I somehow manage to finish it, that would be an absolute miracle, but I don't know if I'm going to push myself that hard. So yeah, let's start painting. Just like you saw in my last painting, I started with my lightest gouache colors first, and then I worked my way down in value. done. It still needs some cleaning up, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Hello, it's 10 p.m. I just spent 13 straight hours working on that painting. I literally only got up to eat some pizza, to use the bathroom. I took a quick break for a little bit, but it was literally just 13 hours of painting. And now I'm on my way to the grocery store because I think I deserved an ice cream. Good morning, happy Monday. I am beyond tired. Tired doesn't even begin to cover it. I had a really long day yesterday. I had a really long Saturday. I had a really long entire week, and I know that this next week is also going to be really long and really tiring, so I'm actually going to end the vlog here. Thank you so much for joining me on my art school adventures this week, and if you'd like to see some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!